In this lesson, we look at some of the concepts or theories around staff motivation. We include at least two of the main ones, which are Maslow and Helzberg, and some other interesting motivational theories that you may find interesting in managing people. In this slide, we see the concept or theory of Abraham Maslow. This is a pyramid. If we start at the bottom of the pyramid, we will note that the first thing that a person needs is to ensure that their physiological needs are met. In other words, that they have food, water, warmth, and somewhere safe to rest. This is of course really important because if we do not have food and water in particular, well, the rest of the needs which are indicated in the upper parts of the hierarchy or pyramid are irrelevant. Once we have satisfied our physiological needs, Maslow would argue that we can then move on to look at safety needs, in other words, our security and safety. In times gone by, that may simply be exactly that. Do we have somewhere that is relatively wind-proof and it is safe and secure? In other words, once we have food and water, warmth, security and safety, we can then start worrying about the nicer things in life, such as relationships, friendships, etc. But without food and water and safety and security, we need not worry about those. Moving upwards in the pyramid or hierarchy to belonging and love needs. These are so-called psychological needs. As Maslow recognised that people, we do have an intimate relationship that we wish to have, and more importantly, we probably want to feel part of something, perhaps part of a community. Moving onwards on the hierarchy or pyramid, but still within psychological needs, you will see that Maslow's recognition of esteem needs. People need to feel a sense of accomplishment, that they as well as Maslow, perhaps the other most important or most recognised theory of motivation is that of Helzberg. The Helzberg model is known as a two-factor model, simply because it looks at two factors. 1. Hygiene factor, and 2. Motivation factors. Hygiene factors are not necessarily things that motivate us, but things that if they are not in place will act as demotivators. In other words, if these aspects are in place, we will not necessarily be motivated, but their absence will make us demotivated. If you look at what some of them are, it is good or bad supervision. So bad supervision will make the worker feel poor. They may not even wish to go to work. So bad supervision is a hygiene factor. Working conditions such as lighting, heating, etc., and indeed health and safety would be a hygiene factor. Not having good health and safety, or having poor lighting, or being too hot or too cold will not motivate you, but it will demotivate you. Interpersonal relationships, in particular the way in which your workmates treat you, are very much a hygiene factor. If you have poor interpersonal relationships at work, it is again likely you will not wish to go to work. Pay and job security. This is a very interesting and sometimes controversial one. Some people argue that people are motivated by pay, in particular those who perhaps are Theory X managers. However, research tends to indicate that pay in itself is not at least a long-term motivator. One of the reasons for this, of course, is that if we get a pay rise, we may feel better and be more motivated, but most of us will simply up our spending habits to take advantage of that pay increase. So in the medium to long term, that level of pay is no longer a motivator. Whatever the case, Helzberg believed that both pay and job security, if we do not believe we are being paid what we are worth, or if we have no long-term stability in terms of job security, this will be a dissatisfier or demotivator. Likewise with other company policies such as health and safety, equalities, job promotions, etc. If we do not believe these are good, we will be dissatisfied, but just having good company policies will not necessarily act as a long-term motivator. Again, it is likely we will become used or acquainted to them. So what then does Helzberg believe are actual motivators? Helzberg believes that the motivational factors are those of achievement, that the employee has a sense of actually achieving something with their life, recognition and praise from their manager, the work itself. So the work itself, either in terms of what it is or the quality of the work, would be important to many people. Giving an employee additional responsibility is also seen as a motivator. I guess it is very linked to recognition and achievement. If your manager gives you additional responsibility, it is obvious that they have some degree of trust in you, and therefore that may lead to improved satisfaction and motivation. Advancement and growth. This is all likely to lead to promotion, which is seen as advancement, and or to a better job, one with perhaps greater responsibility or self-development and growth. All of these are seen by Helzberg. We will not ponder too much on this type of motivational theory, except to show that there are many more than Helzberg and Maslow. Expectancy theory simply thinks that a person is very rational in their calculation. It is the strength of a tendency to act in a certain way, depending on the strength of an expectation that the act will lead to an outcome, and the attractiveness of that outcome to the individual. It suggests that people, or employees in particular, work out what they have to do in order to reach the next highest level or pay grade, for example. So if I am a team member and I know that the team leader will get $2,000 more per year or £2,000 more per year in salary, I start and look at what I would have to do in order to become a team leader, and then what I would have to do to maintain my role as a team leader. I then make a very rational decision as to whether the rewards of such a move are worth the effort I have to put in now and in the future. In other words, what can I expect from what I do now in the future? Equity theory suggests that staff members will compare their job inputs and outputs with other staff members and respond to eliminate any inequities. What this simply means is that staff look at the effort they are putting into their jobs and perhaps the productivity they have actually achieved as a result of their efforts, and compare that to other people and the rewards they are receiving. So for example, if you work in a type of organisation that irrespective of how hard or how diligent you work, you are not rewarded any more than someone who is perhaps viewed as a somewhat of a shyster, you have various options. You can either adjust your work input to achieve less outputs and perhaps therefore have an easy life just like the other person. You can ignore that person and continue with your own work efforts and outputs, or you can leave the field. In other words, you may decide that you do not wish to work in an organisation that does not value your hard work and look elsewhere where you will be better rewarded. This is known as equity theory.